I have my notebook and this pen, and I'm going to take down notes, and I want you to take down notes with me as we evaluate the student. And this is how you can practice CELPIP speaking at home, evaluate yourself, figure out what marks you will get before you go to the exam, and you will be more than prepared for the exam. Now, before we get started, let's have a look at this review from one of our students. He scored 10 in reading and speaking, 9 in listening and writing, and he's saying this is one of the best CELPIP courses I've had ever. And he is referring to our CELPIP 15-hour course, guaranteed results or all your money back. You can get access to it as well. The link is in the description. Now, one of the many things we teach in this course is feedback, and I'll give you a little version of that right here. So please take down notes of the student. Let's evaluate her together and see what notes you're able to find out and what notes I give her as part of our assessment. Let's increase the volume and let's get started. This is her answer to CELPIP speaking question number 6, dealing with a difficult situation.
Hi Maria, I gotta say you are putting me in a tough spot to choose between new house and charity. Investing in new house is highly beneficial to everybody in our family rather than putting that amount in charity, which will not help our family in any material way. See, a new house which will be considered as a symbol of our source of income and success, and we can also possibly make it uh, given for rent, and that rental amount, if you need it, we can give it some proportion to the charity, which will increase our social status and help many needy with their basic necessities. I think this finds you well. Did I make convince you at this point? Let me know.
All right, we're gonna stop that. And what do you guys think? What score will the student get? And if you're speaking like this, what score will you get? In my opinion, this student is gonna score a 6 or 7 max, unfortunately. There are lots of problems here, and we'll dissect all of them one by one. Let's talk about the major mistakes first of all. One major mistake here in speaking part 6 is at the end, you always have to give an alternative or an apology. That is your mark for emotional connection and your emotional intelligence tone point, which is especially marked in part 6 because you're dealing with a difficult situation. Now, you could have said here, I understand this is not what you wanted. However, this is beneficial because of these reasons. Or an alternative would be, look, I would like your understanding and cooperation this time. If you can do this for me, if you can agree with me on this, we can do this other thing later. So an incentive of what you could do later because this is a favor this person is doing for you right now. So those are some major mistakes that are missing, apart from the tone, the response, the vocabulary, and we'll look at all of that right now as I have these things written down on my notes. So let's have a look again, and we'll break this down after every 10 seconds or so. Let's go again at the start and see what happened here.
Hi Maria, I gotta say you are putting me in a tough spot.
So the first thing I wrote here is that there was no pause at the start. The student says, hi Maria, I got to say that. There is no, hi Maria, how are you? Or just a slight pause, hi Maria, I got to say that. And that's where you make it realistic. You make it human. Right now, it looks like you're reading from a book, or it looks like you are in an exam. There is no expression. There's no change of tone. There's no pause. That's a big problem. Later on, you'll see this sentence where the student uses a word rather than. Let's listen to it.
To choose between new house and charity. Investing in new house is highly beneficial to everybody in our family rather than.
This is good. This is a complex sentence because it is, hey, do this rather than do this. So when you use something like this, or you say however, nevertheless, in the middle of a sentence, you are making it a complex sentence. Complex sentences give you more marks. So this one was a good thing. The student is going to get marks for that.
Putting that amount in charity, which will not help our family in any material way.
Pauses or stutters. Let's talk about those. If you have one or two of those, it's not a big issue. It's not a big problem. But when you have repeated pauses or you're stuttering, which the student is doing very often, you will lose marks. It is the fluency mark you will lose. And the reason is the student was never relaxed from the first second. You could see the greeting was rushed, and throughout it feels like she's nervous or not taking enough deep breaths. If you don't, you will definitely sacrifice your marks for fluency. So just take deep breaths in between sentences, and especially when you begin, take a deep breath and then start your first sentence. Really relaxes you, and once you get the good first sentence in initially, you are more confident later on.
See, new.
This thing, a lot of students do this. See, instead of see, just say listen. Listen, a new something. It's not exactly the right thing to say, but it's more grammatically accurate. See is not a correct phrase or word.
New house, which will be considered as a symbol of our source of income and success. And
So I didn't understand that word. So that word was unclear to me, sexes. And if anything is unclear, it is a major mistake, because now I don't understand the essence or substance behind that sentence.
and we can also possibly make it given for rent. And that rental amount.
In this case, when you're pausing, you're not understanding the next word you're going to say. So you're saying we can even make it for rent. Now, this word didn't come to her until a few seconds later. What you can do here is use filler words, but not filler words like so, but actual words that fit into a sentence grammatically. She could have said something like, for example, or I was just thinking that. And while you're saying these words that are filling in that dead space, you're thinking about the next thing you want to say. So she could have said here, let's repeat this. Let's have a look at this sentence again.
Even for rent. And that rental amount, if you need.
Go back here.
And we can also possibly make it.
And we can possibly make it useful for other things, such as rent. Now, by saying useful for other things, such as this delay is helping me think. So I'm not just pausing, or it's not awkward. There's no stutter. There's something that's still going on there, keeping the speaking engaging.
Given for rent.
Don't say will ruin your marks for fluency. Instead, pause or use words like connectors, furthermore, likewise, for example.
And that rental amount, if you need it, we can give it some proportion to the charity, which will increase our social status and help many needy with their basic necessities.
What I like is how she's doing the task response. And by the way, on task response, she's going to get full marks. There is a problem with her not giving an alternative or an apology that could hurt her task response or structure marks. But in terms of task response, when she explains a point or gives a point, she gives reasoning behind that. And here she said something like, which will help whatever, whatever. So that's good. That is a good way to explain the why and how and explain your reasoning. What I would have liked her to do is to use words like moreover or hence in this sentence, because right now we're at the about 50-second mark and there's no other connector. It's just sentence after sentence. That's where she's losing marks on flow. Let's see her finish this up.
Yes. I think this finds you well. Did I may convince you at this point? Let me know.
Is okay. It's a good phrase, actually. What I don't like is her saying, I think. At the end, you want to make a good lasting impression. You want to say words like overall. Don't say to conclude. Now, to conclude is too formal. We don't talk to friends like that. I would say overall, or at the end, or to wrap it up, I would say. To wrap it up is more informal. So I want to make sure I make a good ending impression at the examiner, which I didn't do here. The other problem is, and this is very little, it could or could not affect her marks, especially given how many attempts she does. If it happens repeatedly in every speaking question, it might affect her marks. She finished at 53 seconds instead of 55 plus seconds. You don't want to lose or give too much room at the end where there's a big pause. It is a 60-second speaking question. She finished at 53. That is 7 seconds of pause. It looks like a deliberate attempt by you to not use your speaking time and hence prevent yourself from losing marks if you said another sentence. That's how examiners will look at it. Instead, just say something like, let me know your thoughts, or we'll talk to you soon, or I hope you agree. Just a little phrase like that and you're over 55 seconds. You can leave 5 seconds at the end, but not more. So that's another problem, another area where she could have used improvement. Now, overall, she was clear. Accent doesn't matter, but clarity does. She was clear, but she needs to control all those other areas. And if she does, she will score a 10, not 11 or 12. First, you need to fix all these mistakes, get to a 10. That's something you should attempt at home, not 12, 10 only, no mistakes. Then you need advanced vocab, complex sentences, range of vocabulary, phrases, and structures. And if you want to learn how to do all of those wonderful and difficult things, check out our CELPIP self-paced course in the description. It'll walk you through an entire lesson on just that. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate it.